What's going on, guys? K-Pine here, and welcome back. And welcome to part 2 of the 7-0 MVP run I had in the Battle Frontier. If you missed the first part of the series, I go over the first 2 weeks of battles, as well as give a quick breakdown of what the Battle Frontier is. So I highly recommend checking that one out first, of which I'll link down below in the description. But without holding you guys up any longer, let's get into the breakdown of my third matchup. We have Dusknoir, Metang, Turtonator, Oranguru, Gyarados, Dugong, into the opposing Dugong, Arctibax, Gyarados, Turtonator, Oranguru, and Bronzong. Now, as we established before, you could run either Incinerate or Ember on your Turtonator. Previously, I liked Ember a little bit better. I ran Incinerate in week 2, but given this meta that's all about energy management and swaps, Incinerate was just a little bit too clunky. Plus, I like the fast pacing of Ember to spam out Brutal Swings against the Oranguru, which is just by far way too good on every single team and is essentially unchecked, except by those Metangs or Bronzong. Now, my opponent here is running Bronzong. Then the thing about it is it's not a true Oranguru check. Where unlike Metang, where Metang can tank 2 Brutal Swings and could kind of just destroy Guru. I'm pretty sure Zong can tank 2 Brutal Swings too, but it's dealing neutral and fast move pressure, and that allows Guru a lot of flexibility in play, while those Fury Cutters do add up over time. So just based off seeing that, my Guru is going to be very, very clutch for me. Now, since my opponent is on Double Dragon, that's making my own Dugong and Gyarados look really good, where Dugong wins the zeros against Bronzong, which is really the only check there, and Gyarados, its only real check is Dugong, because Bronzong likes to run Metal Sound in this meta, so it has that decent matchup into the Oranguru, of which Gyarados loves because the Metal Sounds are resisted. So if they end up running Confusion for the better Gyarados matchup, then my Oranguru becomes even better in itself. So that is a very strong and good core that I plan on running for game 1, because that's going to give me a good baseline to read from. So getting into the first battle, we lead Dugong into Gyarados. Good lead for us. See, my opponent's going to stay in and crunch and then dip. They're going to dip out right away, or what they want to do. They stay in, they go for that crunch. I'm going to let this go. And now I'm going to overfarm some to see if my opponent wants to go for a catch. I undertap, expecting them to stay in, and they catch that Icy Wind. So I let a full Confusion through, which doesn't feel good, but I get the attack drop, right, from the Icy Wind. So I can come in Gyarados, I can tank this move from them, which is the Chill Blaze. So now they're back up to even, and I can fire off this crunch before their next move. And this will KO with the Icy Wind worth of chip. This will KO the Oranguru. So they do shield it. And here I make a really bold call. I'm thinking that my Gyarados can just barely hang on from this Brutal Swing. And if I do, I would be able to get off that next crunch and I would be in a fantastic spot. But the Brutal Swing just KOs. And now that's going to put me into a very bad spot. I should have just shielded it to be safe, and I'd still be pretty good. But I wanted to play a little bit risky, and it ends up backfiring big time. Because now I have to bring in my Dugong, tank the move, land an Icy Wind, and I need to hope that my Guru can sweep this matchup. And they come in with the Gyarados. I'm looking to get an energy head start. They reach another crunch right here. I have to shield this. This will just do way too much damage to me. Fortunately, they do not get the debuff, but they have a Turtonator in the back, and that's why it would have been very good if I kept my Gyarados alive and not taken this much fast move damage already onto my remaining Pokemon. It looks like my opponent is on Incinerate themselves, but either moveset's not going to matter here because my Oranguru will just not be able to do it. I bank a move hoping I get the snipe. I do get the snipe, and it's like, wait, is this matchup over yet? I come in with Dugong, I Icy Wind this Gyarados. This gets the final shield, but they get the perfect farm down and leave with a move, and we almost fought back from that little bit of a brutal mistake of ours earlier. GG's. So we're going down 1-0 in this matchup. Let's retake a look at it and see what we can do better. So my opponent liked the Gyarados and Oranguru core, and I make a call here. I'm going to go back to that line I mentioned last video, which is a very safe first line, and I didn't run it here, which is probably fortunate I didn't because they led Gyarados. But Turtonator, Dewgong, Guru. I'm not expecting them to lead Gyarados again. I'm expecting them to throw it in the back this time to potentially catch my own backline Turt, which they ran game 1, or to catch my backline Guru that I have as well, and try and like they're going to work up energy with it. So I do go ahead and lead that Turtonator, and we end up getting a Dewgong lead. And this is great because if they stay in, I can throw 7 Dragon Claw and then dip into my own Dewgong to either force them to expend energy there or get up energy onto my own Dewgong. But they end up pivoting out right away into Gyarados, which kind of surprised me. And if I'm seeing a Gyarados lead or a Gyarados swap when I'm leading Turtonator, I'm kind of expecting it's double backline dragons with the Dragon Breath Arctibax, because there wouldn't be another reason why they would swap out of that lead. But what I do know with them swapping out of that lead is that it's a guaranteed not Bronzong, so my Guru is looking pretty safe here. I land the Icy Wind onto the Gyarados. I'm gonna pivot back into the Turtonator because I'm like, even if it is Arctibax, I'm dealing neutral with this, with these Embers, and I can just start spamming off these moves in the Dragon Claws. But it ends up being their own Guru in the back, so that Gyarados Guru pairing, which we thought they would like, they did end up bringing. And I do pivot out because you don't want to give your opponent an energy advantage in this meta. If you do, it's just going to put you in a rough spot. My opponent cannot farm me down, so they end up firing off a Brutal Swing, which we will shield because I know I will be able to get off this Brutal Swing, and then I know I will be able to get off another Brutal Swing on top of that. Don't even have to worry about getting it off because I would get the farm down. So my opponent, in order to prevent that, pivots out, come into Dewgong. They try and CMP tie me. I do not let that happen. I get an entire confusion of a sneak. And here I am just in a great spot. My opponent has to let this first Trailblaze go. The next one will be boosted. So I'm just going to undertap here, not wanting them to fire off their Icy Wind before I get off my second move. So that strips their second shield. And now that I've pulled their final shield, I can just let my Oranguru go. It did its job, and rely on my other low health Pokemon to finish off this game. I'm never getting Ice Sharded down here. I get one turn bringing as well. I lose out on an Ice Shard, and that is so unfortunate. My opponent swaps a little too early. He tries to get a confusion off. It doesn't happen. We read it. We pivot back into our Turtonator, and we reach the game-winning Brutal Swing. Ember pacing right there, coming in clutch. So we're able to even this series back up 1-1, and let's see what we can do from this. So reading them going Dewgong, Gyarados, Oranguru, and us going Turt, Dewgong, Guru, I feel like my own Dewgong is very safe. Whether they go Guru lead, I can soft boost that. Gyarados lead, like they did game 1, is great, and Dewgong for the mirror, then I can set that up properly. And reading that they've brought Oranguru in the back both games, I'm calling a third time and I'm slapping Metang on there. Let's see how it goes. Let's see if we get the team read right. We do get a good lead here, Dewgong into Gyarados. See, my opponent plays this out like last time where they're going to crunch and then pivot into their Oranguru. If they do that, we're definitely not under tapping here. We're going to overfarm more. We do not want to allow a free confusion sneak. We expect them to pivot. So I bring in the Metang that we brought in the back, and this is all going according to plan. We tank a Brutal Swing. We're over farming. We're going to land this return. My opponent, in such a bad matchup, they are not going to shield here. Return lands. We tank this Brutal Swing, and this is the beautiful thing about landing that return. We tank it, we farm down before they reach another move, and we leave a minimal HP so my opponent doesn't get tons of farm. And no matter what they come in with here, I will reach a move. So I reach a Psyshock here, and now after this, I'm going to pivot out. I'm reading that since they're playing it the same way, their third is the Turtonator as well, and I don't need alignment, right? My Metang already did its job, and I'm just going to play with Dewgong and Guru. Don't want my opponent to get up any energy, and it is that Turtonator. So I'm going to shield here. Brutal Swing won't KO me, but I know that my Dugong will be able to put in a tons of work. I go for the Joe Run because I feel like that was like a guaranteed win condition. I just forced the shield with that Joe Run. I can shield and return here and land this next Joe Run to take out the Turt. And with Turtonator gone, my opponent just doesn't really stand a chance. I bring in a Oranguru to try and snipe it down. They don't let that happen. They come in a Gyarados. Gyarados leaves a parting move, but we know Crunch does a lot. It does not one-shot. So we get the confusion down. We under-tap the Brutal Swing. And my opponent wins CMP since they have a move stored, but it does not matter because Oranguru survives. Even if Oranguru didn't survive, we'd be able to fast move them down. But Oranguru, little HP, clutching up for us as we're able to do the reverse sweep and come back and take that one 2-1. GG's. Getting into the next matchup, we have running the same team. Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This is a very condensed meta, and this kind of just covers everything really well. Dusknoir, Matang, Turtonator, Oranguru, Gyarados, Dugong into Runerigus, Celio, Oranguru, Gyarados, Turtonator, and Dugong. So no steel type for my opponent. And that's very important because if there's no steel type, that just means both Guru and Gyarados run free. But we do have that baseline team we wanted to test in this meta that just gives you a good read on how your opponent wants to do it, of the Turtonator, Oranguru, and Dugong. So we're gonna go into that for game one, and from there, we're just gonna hard spam that Gyarados and Oranguru pairing. So getting into game one, we lead that Ember Turtonator into an opposing Turtonator. See, my opponent is on Ember as well, or if they're on Incinerate, they are on Ember as well. So this is going to come down to a CMP tie. Now, the Turtonator I was using in this was a Raid IV Turtonator because that's the best I had at the time. So I was pretty confident I'm going to win CMP here. I go for the Dragon Claw off the bat. It gets shielded. I respect the Claw in return, and they do shield it as well. Now here, my opponent's gonna catch onto their Dugong. They leave with a Dragon Claw, but that's perfectly fine because I can stay in, load up, throw 7 Embers, load up on so much energy, and then swap into my Dugong to catch whatever it is that they throw. I get fantastic chip damage in the meantime as well, so I'll be able to leave this matchup with a lot of energy out of it. Always making sure to overfarm because if that Turtonator comes back in, we do want to have a move for it. Joe Run does land. We're going to let this go. And it's nice information to have to know that I win CMP in this matchup as well, so I can constantly overfarm to it. And instead of coming in with the Turtonator, my opponent brings in a Oranguru trying to get up energy. So I'm just going to Icy Wind debuff them and come in with my own Oranguru. So game one, running mirror teams. You absolutely love to see it. They land a Brutal Swing. We're gonna overfarm more. I played at a CMP tie as well to test who wins this, knowing that I'm not in danger because I'll still survive this to get off my own move. Looks like they end up winning the CMP tie here. That is fine. We land it. I'm gonna go for a confusion down. Can't quite get it. So my opponent hard pivots into Turtonator, and I'm surprised they didn't throw the Brutal Swing right away to take me out because they had a ton of energy stored. But either way, I can throw my own Brutal Swing to delay the clock. Come in with Turtonator. I bait with the Brutal Swing, a little bit of a risky bait, but if I'm being aggressive, I was expecting my opponent to shield there to respect the Claw I had stored. Shield my opponent's move. We do outpace to our Claw before they get there, and with their Turtonator gone, game is just a game over. So I'll outpace the Dugong to a Brutal Swing, take out the Dugong, and we're just going to be able to clean up the match from there. So we take a nice 1-0 game lead. So seeing how that worked well, and my opponent not having that steel type for the Gyarados and Guru, we did drop the Gyarados game 1 to run the test line, and it ended up working out in our favor. But game 2, there's absolutely no reason to drop the Gyarados here. We're doing that Gyarados Guru pairing. We're gonna drop the Turt just in case my opponent pivots into Gyarados of their own. And we're going to toss on Dugong as that Gyarados answer. So 3 things that do deal resisted damage to steals, but like I said, my opponent doesn't have that. So we're going to build strong to the Gyarados that I'm expecting my opponent to bring now. So getting into game 2, I do lead Gyarados into the Turtonator, my opponent going for the same lead again, and it ends up paying off for us big time. They stay in, throw a couple Embers, and now pivot into their Dugong. Just like they did last game, they pivot into the Dugong, so I'm expecting that there's a very real chance my opponent just ran it back. And in doing so, I'm perfectly fine getting off some crunch damage, and then coming in with my own Dugong like I did last time, because just like game 1, I will be able to win this matchup and leave with a good amount of energy. And since my opponent only left with about a Brutal Swing's worth on their Turtonator, I will be able to threaten it with the charge move from my Dugong. Drorun lands, takes out their Dugong. They come back in Turtonator, and I am not in Dragon Claw range yet. They overfarm to the max, fire off the Dragon Claw. It lands, and I'm just going to undertap my move because they were one off a Brutal Swing, I'm pretty sure. So I wanted to undertap this to make sure I get it off. They end up catching and a sneak onto a Oranguru, which is very good play by them. But we just have the mirror back lines again. Dugong onto their Dugong, Oranguru onto their Oranguru. And then with that Icy Wind's worth of chip and a debuff, we are in a pretty good spot again. With their Oranguru essentially dead, I just saved 2 shields for my Gyarados at this point, and it will be able to clean up this game. In comes Turtonator. They snipe down my Oranguru, but like I said, I don't need that energy. I can just fast move down their Turtonator at this point. I'm never going to reach 3 moves, so it's just going to be Dragon Breath spam at this point. I'm going to shield everything they throw because my lose condition, I feel like at this point, is me no shielding something, and it ends up being a full send of the Dragon Claw. So they do reach a second move. It is that Dragon Claw. Down goes Turtonator, and the low health Oranguru comes back in and gets Dragon Breath down as well. So we're able to take a nice 2-0 lead in this matchup, where for the third one, we had such a convincing lead last game that those 3, it's kind of just hard to stray away from it. So we're going to run those 3 again, but we're going to switch up the lead. We're going to go for a Dugong lead this time because of my opponent, which they most likely will shift away from that Turt lead into something, say, like their own Dugong or Turn Gyarados. My Dugong covers both of those. And if they do run the same lead 3 games in a row, the Dugong covers that as well. And I feel like that's, besides from being really safe, that's one of the only mons on my team that I feel like would cover their 3 potential leads that they could run. So we do lead that Dugong, and we catch their Gyarados lead. Good lead for us. See, my opponent pivots out or stays in to fire off that crunch and dip, which is a very typical play pattern for a lot of people. My opponent saves that energy, pivots Dugong, and trying to catch an Icy Wind. They don't, I read it, and I'm able to fire off a Jorun. However, that's the wrong play for me to do there. My opponent getting such a big energy lead with a Gyarados is going to help them just spam off moves in the end game and be very, very clutch for them. What I should have done is saved all of that energy on my Dugong, because the Gyarados can't eat it well, but their Dugong can, and that's what they're hoping I do, expend it on it. So I should have saved all that energy and just pivoted into my Oranguru right away. Now they come in with their own Guru. I'm hoping I'll be able to get off both of these Brutal Swings. I am not, and that is very unfortunate. Here, I can't bring in my Dugong, which is low on energy, because they'll just spam off Trailblazes. And if I do that as well, now I have my Gyarados with no energy against their Gyarados with tons of energy. So I'm in a very tough spot here, but I'm going to try and play it out the best I can, saving the shields for the Dugong, since I know that is my best shot to take out the Gyarados at this point. So I'm going to stay in here, shield up this potential Trailblaze, and just hope that with the Icy Wind debuff spam, I will be okay. I overfarm, throwing not optimal timing, but I maximize the amount of energy I'm able to get without taking that second confusion from them, because I was expecting them to no shield that. If they did shield that, then that wouldn't have been an ideal play, but expecting them to no shield puts us in an okay spot. So there, I correctly do shield the crunch, fire off this Icy Wind, debuffing their attack, and now I just need to hope that my Dugong will be able to hang on. They saved their own Dugong for later, which is a very nice play by them to reset their attack drop. So I just gotta hope I can hang on to this crunch and do enough damage with these ice shards, because this Icy Wind won't KO, But will this next Ice Shard I do KO them? It will not. They're able to hang on, get the Dragon Breath down, and take game 3. But we are able to come out on top 2-1 in this matchup. GG's. Now getting into the 5th week of battles against AnthonyCubchoo, we have that patented Dusknoir, Metang, Ember Turtonator, Oranguru, Gyarados, and Dugong lineup against an opposing Oranguru, Turtonator, Dugong, Runerigus, Gyarados, and Metang. So basically mirror teams, except I'm running Dusknoir and they are running Runerigus. So by now, we already know that game 1 line. We're going to run it here, see what my opponent's tendencies are, and then reevaluate for game 2 and 3, depending on how that goes. So game 1, we lead that Ember Turtonator into an opposing Turtonator, see if they're on Ember or Incinerate. They are on Incinerate, and this is very nice because I get to dictate the first shield in this matchup. And now my opponent does end up going down shields. Of course, I will match them. Hopefully we don't get baited. And now the good thing about this matchup, if you're the Ember Turtonator, is that you win 2s, barring no baits, just given to how quick you pace to these Dragon Claws in comparison to them. Second Claw does land, so I'm fine shielding this up because this will do a ton of damage, and there's nothing else on my opponent's team that is going to do as much damage to my Turtonator with a single move as an opposing Dragon Claw. Now they come in Gyarados, I will chip with a Brutal Swing and then come in Dugong. Now I feel like that is important chip because that allows this Icy Wind to KO their Gyarados. If I stored that energy and came in Dugong, this Icy Wind wouldn't KO and they would reach another crunch. By chipping them first, we're able to take out the Gyarados or force their final shield. It forces their final shield, and from here, we're just gonna Icy Wind them all the way down. They make a smart play in saving that Gyarados energy for later and pivoting Turt. And I'm hoping I can Ice Shard down, but I just can't. They barely survive, and that's unfortunate because it causes me to have to waste my energy there. Now I'm looking to hard pivot out of this matchup because if they come in with Gyarados, I want to save my Dugong to reach a move later, and because they could just throw off a crunch to take out my Dugong. So I do end up pivoting. They bring in Oranguru, which would have been nice to just stay in and debuff it then. But Turtonator does not care. It clutches up, reaches one final Brutal Swing for some nice chip damage onto the Guru. Now I can bring in that Dugong, take out their Guru with Icy Wind, and their Gyarados is so low on HP. This match is over because they have to throw a move to take out my Dugong here, and they're going to have no energy left to take out my Oranguru, which we will take out in Confusion. They do reach that Crunch, but as we know, Crunch does not one-shot, and Confusion does take out the Gyarados. Getting into the second battle, they didn't bring Metang game 1, so I'm calling that they're probably going to put it on the bench again here, and I'm going to run a bit soft to it, but strong to basically everything else that my opponent can bring. I'm going to lead that Gyarados because if by some chance Metang is brought, it's going to be tossed in the back, most likely to catch those Orangurus. So I'm going to lead Gyarados, throw Dugong in the back, and just play with energy. Because even then, if they do have the Metang and they bring it into Dugong, Dugong does win the zeros there. So we do end up leading Gyarados into the mirror, and you're going to think that in the mirror situation, you're going to want to go for Crunch or potentially work with Aqua Tail baits, right? Because Crunch is neutral, Aqua Tail is resisted. No, you never want to. Always build up to the Crunch to keep your opponent guessing and go straight, and we're going straight for that Aqua Tail because in this matchup, if you Aqua Tail and land the Aqua Tail and say you no-shield the Crunch from your opponent, then you'll be able to survive that and get off a second Aqua Tail to take switch advantage, of which you'll then pivot out of. And if you Aqua Tail bait and your opponent shields it like you saw here, and they Crunch and I shield it like you saw here, then you'll be able to reach another Aqua Tail to land. Then they will be able to get a Crunch to land on you after that, and they'll win that lead. But that's just prime farm for your Gyarados, no, for your Dugong or your Oranguru or something like that, because they're never going to reach another move. And up energy, your opponent has nothing to really soak that stuff on. But here, my opponent does get the Crunch debuff, so that throws a little bit of a wrench into it. So I do pivot out into my own Dugong. they bring in a Dugong of their own, and it looks like that for game 2, we are running the mirror team. But fortunately for me, with that Icy Wind debuff, that allows me to pivot into Gyarados, and with that Aqua Tail bait we successfully got earlier, we will be able to outpace bait with another Aqua Tail, which they shield. And from here, I do end up giving up a shield of my own. I was thinking about calling a bait that I would survive an Aqua Tail, but it kind of became like, oh, they're guaranteed gonna throw a Crunch there. And that's why you just go straight Aqua Tail, because even then, we land the tail, get the farm down, forces my opponent to throw right away. And from here, Guru can take 2 Brutal Swings from full HP. So this matchup is over, and we are gonna be taking a 2-0 series lead here. First one will land. We're not even going to need the second one, as we will be able to confusion down. Now there is a chance that they'll bring the Metang this game, which is why I am going to lead the Dugong this time. Because if we lead it, we've already established so many times of how dominant Dugong's neutrals are, where you just win the zeros there. And if they lead Metang, then I can come in with Gyarados and farm it, or reach an Aqua Tail to take it out, depending on the shield state that they use. And if they are running in the back, then I just work with Guru Energy or Dose Energy to basically just beat it with a War of Dark move damage. So for game 3, we do lead that Dugong into an Oranguru, and this is perfectly fine because Dugong Soft loses this matchup and sets up a perfect confusion down for Oranguru, or a great Dragon Breath down for Gyarados, depending on whichever one I feel like I would want to possibly have it on here. We do fire off the Icy Wind, they land a Trailblaze, and we're just going to play out the zeros. This is only a Brutal Swing. We survive it. We're not worried. We're going to let it go. They land the Brutal Swing, and I do end up pivoting out just because they threw right away and our energy dry. So I can get a big energy advantage on Gyarados and take out the Oranguru if they stayed in, or have a big energy lead on whatever they were to come in with here. Now they come in with Dugong. I go for the Crunch, and we're very fortunate we do get the Crunch debuff there. But with them Icy Wind in me, it's basically back down to neutral now, where I'm going to fire off another Crunch. This does land. No second debuff there. And I can pivot into the Dugong of my own, catch the Icy Wind, waste all that energy, and I'll still be able to get this move off that I have stored. So absolutely backbreaking there for my opponent as Drill Run lands. And now I'm feeling a little greedy. I'm coming in with my own Gyarados. I'm going to farm it down. They're not going to let that happen. They come in with their own dose, and we've baited the Gyarados twice already with Aqua Tail. Do they call it this third time? They do not. Allows us to reach a Crunch, and this is going to be some massive damage to their Gyarados. Brings them down just about into the red, and we get another defense drop. I'm not sure if that one mattered. I know it might have taken one more confusion, but that's just less energy I get. So I feel like that Crunch debuff hurt a little bit more than it helped that time. But with a full health Oranguru and this much energy, this matchup is going to be over for my opponent as we take out their own Oranguru and confusion down to Dugong. And that completes a nice little 3-0 sweep there in week 5 of Battle Frontier. That'll finish off the second of 3 parts of the series here, where hopefully you all are enjoying this little change of pace from my usual content. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate you. If you enjoyed it, please drop a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Love to hear what you have to say. And with that, I'll catch you in the next one.